Welcome to my presentation, which addresses the student challenge of feelings of isolation in the online learning environment. This presentation was prepared for Professor Mary Wiseman's MHE 632 Building Online Learning Communities course for the spring 2019 semester. Though an online learning setting may feel natural for some students, for others the environment may feel quite foreign, challenging them to leave their comfort zones. Once they do, the students' efforts may go unacknowledged, as is illustrated in the cartoon with the elephant. The student may have trouble connecting with the instructor and classmates and may interact very little in the classroom. As a result, feelings of isolation occur. Some thoughts students may have include, how do I build relationships when we're not face-to-face? How are group members perceiving me, and am I getting my points across effectively when I can't see body language? Is it okay for me to be vulnerable and really let group members see who I am? Will I be accepted? These feelings of isolation can arise for different reasons. A major question many people have about online learning is, how do we make up for all of the information we get from each other when we're face-to-face? There are missing nonverbal and verbal cues, and this can be unsettling for some students. Since written form is the main mode of communication in online settings, those who are not confident in their writing skills may be reluctant to interact. When people communicate online, they can sometimes push boundaries in terms of what's appropriate to say and not say, sharing more personal information than they normally would, or broaching topic areas that are more often left untouched in face-to-face discussions. Unclear boundaries can feel uncomfortable. Students can be put off by a groupthink phenomenon, feeling pressure to agree with what seems to be a group consensus. Some students are not comfortable with technology in general and may have challenges even accessing the online classroom. If guidelines are unclear to students, such as how a discussion post should be written, students can feel challenged. If little to no contact is made between student and instructor, the student may feel disconnected from the class and drift away. So what happens when a student is dealing with one or more of these barriers? The student, him or herself, is affected for sure. However, the class may be affected as well, since the success of the class depends on participation of all members, and participation is essential if we are to learn of and from each other. This quote below is an excerpt from an online student's post regarding how the class feels when they are missing a classmate. When members do not participate or respond to messages, it might be they are too busy, overwhelmed, ambivalent, apathetic, or whatever, but it can be construed as a mode of control in the sense that we don't know why they aren't joining us. Sid. The class may feel a piece of their puzzle is missing and is thus incomplete. Of course, feeling isolated has implications for the learner, him or herself. This video explains how this is true.
When a student learns online, he's physically distanced from his peers and instructor. Depending on the design of the course, that can lead to a rather isolating experience. Now, when we reframe the process of learning from the formalized classroom experience and start to imagine learning as a real-life and lifelong process, the role that social interactions play in one's development of knowledge, skills, and abilities is clear. Learning is simply a social process. And when learning occurs in physical isolation from one's peers and teacher, and a learner engages purely through computer-mediated experiences, that digital landscape must be designed to create that socialization. Learning in isolation week after week, month after month, is not only unenjoyable, it can prevent students from moving from surface learning to deep learning and increase the likelihood of a student dropping a class.
Isolation can be the single factor that prevents a student from succeeding in a course. So, what are some strategies instructors can use to prevent it? Before the course actually begins, post an introduction of yourself. Doing so sets a tone of sharing and community. Next, ask students to share as well. You can either ask them to post text or video introductions of themselves, or you can ask them to participate in an icebreaker activity. It is key to respond to each student after they post so they can get that immediate feedback and start to feel like they're part of the class. To keep that connectedness going, make sure students know from your syllabus, emails, and announcements how and when they can get in touch with you. Setting clear guidelines and expectations for the course will put students' minds at ease, lessening the chance that a student will feel confused or untethered at any point. Always provide feedback in a prompt manner, whether it be through email or feedback on assignments. Further, in providing different ways for students to show what they know, we can avoid isolating them. For instance, allow students to create a visual presentation versus a written paper. A course cafe is a place within the online classroom where students can share about topics other than class-related ones. If you think about the word cafe, it suggests a place to hang out, socialize, and hopefully get to know each other better. This building of community lessens feelings of isolation. Using social media like a Twitter hashtag or a class Facebook page also provides other outlets for students to share different parts of themselves. Finally, let's think about strategies that are specific to successful and robust discussion forums. Since these forums are the beating heart of communication in an online classroom, setting them up and facilitating them strategically can go a long way in drawing students in, thereby reducing feelings of isolation. Students can first collaborate on the guidelines and boundaries they'd like to use in these discussion forums. Taking ownership of these rules in a collaborative way can make students feel like they are part of the class. When the class gets going, it is important for the instructor to be present in the discussions to help move them along and make inquiries and connections, all without being too dominant a force. An even more powerful practice is to reach out privately to any students who are not participating in the discussions, reminding them that their contribution to the class conversation is valuable and needed. Having an awareness that not all students will respond comfortably to the online environment, knowing the signs that a student is feeling isolated, and using both proactive and reactive strategies to engage the student are key practices for the online instructor. When students feel like they are part of a community, they are much more likely to be successful. When interaction is encouraged, it leads students to positive communication behaviors and a feeling of community inside the online classroom. Thank you for your time.